Okay, we're streaming live on Facebook. Awesome. Okay, we'll wait for a few more people, I guess, to get on here.
Mara?
Yes?
Beth, she left her computer at her house, so she'll be able to talk with you audio-wise, but not see her face.
Okay.
And I think there's also a picture of her son, too, that's going to be shown while she's talking.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
Leo's got it.
Good.
And we're live and we're all set.
Awesome. Okay, maybe we should start. It's 12:01, and really excited that you're with us, and some of the team members from the ARC, Maura Sullivan, you can see, and Charlie Fisk, and happy, to be here with you. I'm Leo Sarkissian, and I'm thrilled to be here with you as well. And we're going to have a couple of wonderful guest speakers here as well. So looking forward to that. So I'm going to open up a screen. So why are we here today? We are really here today to protect our safety net of services. And I don't think anyone imagined this situation before March that we would be in. And we've all worked so hard for decades trying to build a service system. And it's never perfect. It's always evolving. We're always trying to make it more personalized, more supportive. But the services today reach 18,000 people. And I'll be repeating that again, just the day services alone and employment services, almost nearly 20,000 people. Okay. And that doesn't include people that have gotten jobs that are no longer in those state programs, that people have helped get jobs. It's an unbelievable number. And on top of that, there's 77, almost 7,800 people in community residences and supported living situations across the state that private agencies, most of the nonprofits, are supporting across the entire state. 8,000, imagine, nearly 8,000 people. And that doesn't include the people that are in adult family care and other kinds of settings that would not be included in the formal, Department of Development Services numbers. So we're talking about a lot of people. On top of that, there's about 20,000 families that qualify for family support services, of which there's at least 12,000 that get some kind of services. That, again, we're facing this challenge, this risk about how are we going to make sure supports continue. So I want to thank you all that are with us today. A lot of friends on the call. We need to help our voices get heard with state legislators. We need to show that a lot of people came together today. And so I'm going to share some slides with you, but I also want to share with you in the legislative process, we're at halftime. Now, that's sometimes bad news, but a lot of football games, people come back in those third and fourth quarters, right? And have big victories. And I almost would argue that the next month and a half, we're in the halftime, because we may not get everything we want, even as the Senate and House finish their budget. The House technically has finished its budget. The Senate just posted, just a while ago, their Ways and Means budget, the committee that first drafts the budget. We're not doing a lesson today, so I'm not going to get into those kinds of details. But the first step of the Senate budget happened, the release of it this morning. We have not seen the final House budget. And that's partly because they didn't want to hold up the Senate. It's also because they are doing the budgets together. Okay, because of the COVID pandemic, they are working more closely than ever. So anything we influence from here on in, we can influence for both branches still, okay? Because they're trying to work together, not show each other up, be compromisers, be collaborators. But then again, I want to remind you, I'm saying this period's halftime, not just halftime in the middle of the budget, because normally the budget would have been done months ago for this fiscal year. So I'm going to go ahead now and share the screen. And I'm thrilled. I'm going to just show you, in addition, let me just start the PowerPoint in the beginning. You guys can see it, right? And I'm going to just go ahead and, that's interesting. Okay, bear with me. Slideshow. Okay, I must be nervous. I've done this a million times and I was having trouble with it. So, okay, we're gonna get into it. Our virtual rally for safety net together. And these are our big goals. These are always We've talked about a lot of these big goals all along. Equity in healthcare as the surge happens, equitable assistance for individuals and families at home, preserving the day and residential safety net that's funded through DDS and Mass Health, addressing special education, personal protective equipment, and making sure our folks are prioritizing our staff, so the people served, the families and our staff, that they get prioritized for the COVID vaccine. And Stephanie's with us today. She'll be speaking in a few minutes. I'm really excited about having you with us, Stephanie. And
Thank you.
You're welcome. It's great to say hi to you earlier. And then Beth, Peter's mom, is going to be here because Peter's at work. He is taking the chance of going to the day program, and she'll be speaking for a few minutes as well. And I'm going to introduce Stephanie first in a few minutes, and then after show a couple of more slides, and then have Beth speak after her. So again, I just want to share with you the numbers again. Family support, over 12,000 families. There's 20,000 that could use it, that get the family support services. There's services through Mass Health that sometimes they have access to as well. There's 18,000 adults, I said, enrolled in day services and employment. And that's an approximation because some people are in both Mass Health services and DDS day and employment services. And there's 7,760, nearly 8,000 people in the private system. There's another 1,000 people at state operated programs. And they would be here too, but they're funded differently. The amendments that we have do not impact state employees, have 3 shifts. They've been funded. There have been no layoffs. So that's the only reason that they're not up here. If it was a normal budget year and we saw things happening, they would be up here too. And the amendments that either passed or didn't pass, and I'm pretty sure most of a couple of them may have passed. We don't know because the House thing is not posted. I said it's not over till it's over. They address the COVID-related costs or changes, and that's social distancing for infection control, the additional staffing. It's really more staffing ratio, so the number of staff per person has gone up. Adding remote services and outreach to the typical service model. That means you have not only people in the building or at work, but you're also doing other things to reach other people, and then the protective equipment and related stuff. And I'm going to unshare for a minute. And Stephanie, Maura and you, I think, are going to talk a little bit for a few minutes to talk about your experience. And I'm going to stop sharing for a few minutes so we can do that. And I'll keep an eye on the waiting room.
Okay. So I've been staying home. Basically, I've been homebound since COVID started. So I have not a good immune system. It's, part of my autism. Because I have some other things. And so I've been doing Zoom since so some people, I go to the STEP, I go to the Northeast Arc. And it was all closed for a while. And now some people are going to their, only a few, and then most of us are still remote. And I'm just hoping that, because I have medical people in my family, so I know how bad it is. And I know that I'm hoping that by the time COVID gets under control and it's safe and everything, that it won't affect the day programs. Because I really do miss seeing my friends, and I do miss going to the day program. And I just miss the stuff that my friends who don't go to day programs, because I have friends that are typical that aren't in programs. So it's just, everything just got, messed up, going to Salem this year, and you know what I mean? And yeah. But it's just everything in general, but it's so bad. And I know people I have one friend that was in the hospital for 4 months with COVID, and he almost died. And it's no joke, but I don't want the program to shut down. They just opened up a whole new thing at the Liberty Tree Mall.
Yeah.
You're dying to probably go there. So Stephanie,
but I can't even go to the mall. I can't do really anything.
You're dying to go back, figuratively. You're dying to get back to the program. At some point, yes. It would be a real problem if suddenly the virus went away and you had to wait 6 months, right? Because you weren't there. And I think people need to understand that, and you're sharing that. How about the virtual? You're not as crazy about that, I heard from Maura, but it's something you use at least to stay
Yeah.
connected?
Well, it's hard for me because I'm also hearing impaired. So, and it's hard for me. Well, it's hard for me anyways. Like even sometimes in the program, like I have trouble like when a lot of people are talking at once. It's hard. So sometimes on Zoom, they're all talking over each other,
Gotcha.
and it's hard for me to like process it.
Gotcha.
So I don't mind doing the Zoom with my program, but sometimes when they're not telling people to take their turn and letting, if everybody's like talking at once, I'm just kind of like,
Gotcha. Makes sense.
Yeah. So I mean, I do go on sometimes, and if it's something I want to do, then I'll do it. And then if it's something that's not my thing, then I'll just not go that day because some things are just not my thing.
Yep.
But it's not the same. It's not the same as being in person. I mean, I don't always mind being by myself, but I do miss sometimes, going in and seeing my friends. It's just, I mean, at first it was okay, but it's just old. I mean, it's just frustrating period. I can't even see like one of my best friends that she has nothing to do with program. I just know her, and it's like, it's just, it's like you can only do so much stuff at home. You can do so much crafts on your own and so much.
Yeah. Oh, Stephanie, thank you so much, Leo. I just wanted to say and I want to say hang in there, and we really want to work on getting those programs back open.
I just don't want everything to close and get messed up. And they just put my greeting cards. We have the art store that just opened up at the Louis Tree Mall, and I just got my greeting cards, and that just opened up. And I just hope that doesn't close because I know a lot of people can't go to the mall, and I don't know. Hopefully they won't have like another complete shutdown and stuff.
Yeah, same here. And Stephanie, thank you. You're awesome. And I'm going to start sharing the screen again. I think you made it clear that even though you're not taking the chance right now, you sure want to be able to go back and as soon as it is possible.
Yeah, just everybody's just going to do their part to make sure it's safe and we get this under control.
Great. And oops, I don't know how that happened. I was just, that was strange that happened. Let me get us back online here. Okay.
I live at home with my mom, who's also elderly, so I have to be careful too because of her.
Okay, thank you. So looking at the slides again, I think, let me make sure I'm not too far ahead. Oh, I was too far ahead. So the positive thing is the House did give $20 million more for DDS employment during the budget process. And that gives us still a gap of 14 million to get to the original budget we needed for this year. So that's one of the amendments I want to share with you that we had, that we may have a similar amendment for the Senate. We're going to let you know. And I'm showing you here the van here, right? Shows you how far away people are from each other. And that's why things cost more, right? You're taking more van rides. The other amendment is for mass health. Well, actually, by the way, in addition to money, similar to this amendment I'm going to tell you about, day habilitation, that's an entitlement, but the social distance guidance, again, causes to have a higher staff ratio, and agencies have been struggling with the financial costs. On December 1st, they will be in terrible shape if they don't do something about it. We had an amendment for both those programs to allow billing to be at the utilization or at the attendance rates pre-COVID. So in other words, developing a reimbursement or paying the agencies according to a higher rate so they can survive through this difficult process. That'll be my shorthand way. And we're going to be working on that in the Senate as well. And then what I want to do at this point, I'm going to stop again and I'm going to invite Beth. Beth, I know you're not, we saw Peter's picture. Let me show Stephanie and Peter once more. I'm going to just show the pictures. So that's Peter there. Beth, can you hear me? Okay. And I'm going to stop the share. Well, actually, they're not going to be able to see you, but I think I'll look for you. Maybe I have to unmute you. You might have to unmute yourself, Beth. And Peter's been going now, I want to say for over a month, but I could be wrong about that. Are you there, Beth? Well, I'm going to turn into Beth then for a minute. If I can. I know she was on. I wonder if she got disconnected. Beth, bear with me, folks. I also thought I saw Gabe Von Lee on the call, and I was going to interview him for a minute for what he's facing.
Looks like Beth's muted. I don't know if Katerina can unmute her.
If you
Yeah.
send a message on participants, you can tell her she needs to unmute herself.
Yeah, and I would think she could hear us though too, but
You can't if you're muted.
really? Okay.
No, you have to tell
Um,
somebody they have to unmute themselves.
Okay, Beth, please unmute. So meanwhile, I'm wondering if I don't see, you know what, is Jim Cassetta still on? I saw him a little. Char Gentes? Char, are you on? I do a surprise interview with you. Can I do a surprise interview with you?
Hi, sure.
There you are. So Char, I know you along with some other of my colleagues, you know, you focus mainly on day services. So
Yes.
what your staff and you, what are you worried about come December 1st? And you've been worried about it for a while. August was a terrible month. I know, for billing services. And I want people to get a sense of what happens. Can you share that a little bit, Char?
Yeah, sure. Well, as people know, we've been receiving enhancement funding. August and September was at 40%, and October and November will be at 25%. And then in December, it goes back to the regular typical payments. That is just not enough money to pay for all the extra expenses that we have. PPE alone, I think I've already spent probably $55,000. And
that's an expense you didn't have last year.
No expense. It was not an expense. There is no funding for that. The additional funding was helping. But with our enrollment being low, you don't have the same amount of money coming in, but you still have all your bills. You still have to pay your rent. You still have to pay your utilities. So that is what all day programs are up against. We really need the enhancement funding.
Let me lead you a little bit. You also do a bunch of employment, which that changed a bit, maybe not as drastically, but if you do group employment, right, you had more costs. How about the people in the day program? Do you have more staff per person than you did a year ago?
We have, in some cases, yes. And in some cases, it's about the same. It depends, of course, on all the square footage and how you have people in different rooms and stuff like that. But for sure, the amount of money that we lost in different areas and without the enhancement in admin, it's going to be serious for many day programs.
Okay, thank you, Char. I just wanted people to hear from people that are leading an organization, because you've shared with me even months ago that how frightening it was, right? And you've been around how long, Riverside Industries?
Yeah, since 1968. So
okay.
Wow.
52 years. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is what's at risk. We could actually lose a historical organization over this, and it's no one's trying to do this, but we have to advocate, or else people will know. I'm going to unmute Beth really quick and see, Beth, if you could. I just asked you to unmute. Thank you, Char, for being with us and talking.
Yes.
Thank you, Char.
Leo. Yeah, Jim, you're facing the same thing?
Absolutely. You can, what Char just said, we're facing it. And it's not that we don't have enough space. We have a lot of space at our facility. We're socially distant.
Yep.
We're averaging about 15 individuals a day coming into Dayhab. Pre-pandemic, we were up to 75 to 80 people.
Wow.
And with this type of payment mechanism, I don't know if my colleague Sharon Smith might be on the phone also, on the Zoom call also, but we're probably not going to be able to make it beyond January 1st unless we get remediation from the Commonwealth.
And Jim, Workink's been around, I know, a long time, because I used to be in the South Shore, 1960s also.
We were born in 1955 when I was 5 years old.
Okay. Wow. Okay, because I know historically, me being where I am, we had shared some board members and people that helped establish Workink. And well, thank you for coming on. I'm going to, Beth, I guess, is not going to speak.
Thank you, folks.
Let me go back to the slide. Thank Jim's, both great colleagues. They've worked hard in the field for years. I'm going to share the screen again. And just basically, I'm not going to go through the rest of these slides blow by blow because we're going to be updating it. But I do want to talk about, before I end, you heard about the day, I want to talk about the residences, and I want to talk about families one more time, and why we're working on three fronts: day programs, residential. The residential services people have been day program staff since March. Day funding has been there in March through June at about 17.5%. But this quarter or more, right, 5 months, there was no dollars. And they announced, oh, hey, former Rep Steve Hayes is on. Maybe we'll get him to say a couple of words. I just saw him sign on. What you have to appreciate is the organizations have gotten they've been told they're going to get 3.25%. So they haven't even gotten that yet, but that's 14.25% shy of what they really cost and what the administration said it costs between March and June. So, and then I want to just take you about, I want to end the slides because I want to get Steve on.
Leo?
Yep.
Can you hear me? It's Beth. I can speak.
Give me 1 minute and I'm going to bring you on. I can hear you. Don't mute yourself. Hold on a second.
I won't.
I just want to say family support assistance has been cut drastically since July 1st. We're really concerned about that and why we wanted more money there. And finally, we shared with the Senate, we didn't have an amendment in the House that Mass Health adult family or foster care caregivers have received zero additional help. These are people, whether they're family or unrelated, that have folks at home. They've been doing 24/7. They need our recognition too. And most of these services, the day programs, the residential, if they increase rates, they pay higher rates. The only place that may not get fully reimbursed federally is family support dollars, the smallest part that we're asking for. So every single dollar, if we're asking for 50 million here, 100 million there, it sounds like a lot. Half of that's paid by the federal government. And most of this money, by the way, was budgeted. Much of this money was already budgeted. It's allowing the organizations to bill it. So that's what I want you to understand. So Beth, thank you, Beth, for getting on. Talk about Peter. Go ahead.
So I'm Beth and my husband's name is Hugh. We have a son named Peter who is 32 years old. In 3 weeks, he will be 33.
Wow.
He has severe autism. He is full of life. He likes to be busy. He thinks, you get up in the morning and you go somewhere. So he loves to go swimming. He goes almost every day. He loves art and he loves walking. So he was very thrilled when his program opened again. He's an only child. So especially with that, he loves to see his friends and others at the program. And he loves the good and useful, and just a variety of activities. We are proud of his progress over the years, and we're also grateful for the help we've gotten. So we were relieved too, my husband and I, because we do have jobs, and we know now that he can benefit from the structure and meaningful activities that he has at his program. He's safe and he's cared for. And that really makes a difference to my husband and I. So the funding really is needed to keep him constructively engaged and occupied. My husband and I can't do it alone, especially over the long haul. So we hope the legislature can keep his safety net intact for him and for us.
Beth, awesome. Thank you so much. And I know how hard this was for you, and I just really appreciate it. And, my good wishes to you and Hugh and Peter as usual. So thank you for joining us. I also, I think it's a great idea. We do have Representative Stephen Hay on, who's retiring this year. I think we tucked that into this issue of the Advocate that'll come out soon. Do you mind talking for a couple of minutes? I know now you're on mute for some reason. We know, he doesn't even know I was going to ask him. Are you yeah.
Hi, so this is actually Bridget. I'm Representative Hayes' legislative.
Oh yeah, Bridget, what a pleasure.
Yes, it's great. So great to be here with you all. But yeah, Representative Hayes is couldn't make it, but yeah, it's so great to hear the stories and to be here with you all. So thank you so much.
Great, thank you for joining us. And we're recording this. We're hoping we can share it with reps and senators.
Oh, absolutely.
What do you think? Yeah, we'll share the link.
Oh yeah, that would be wonderful. I'll put my email in the chat, and I can share it, make sure Representative Hayes sees the whole meeting, and then as well, maybe we could get it out on social media.
That would be awesome, Bridget. That would be, and if internally, I don't know if people would mind if you linked it, sent it out internally in the building too. That would be awesome.
Yeah,
Bridget, thank
absolutely.
You so much.
Drop in your email.
That would be awesome. Thanks for joining us. So we got a few minutes left. Maura, would you like to add anything? We got other colleagues on as well. I saw Joe Krajewski as well, who's George Fleischner is on too, who's got shared living and AFC that we were just talking about. What do you think?
Yeah, I just wanted to say there's a couple questions here in the chat. I don't know if
Okay.
you, I think neither of us have a good answer for this, but Mike Maloney's asking about when
Right.
we will know about the House budget.
Yep. So Charlie, I want you to get your shoes on, make a few calls, and we will ask some of the people we're close to, like literally as soon as we get off the phone. I think like you might have missed this, Mike. They posted a placeholder because we went right up there, and it is just a placeholder. And what I'm wondering, and I don't have the final word on this, as Maura said, we're wondering if they did this because they're so closely aligned on the budget. So they didn't put up the results of the amendments. We think a lot of amendments went down because they are being conservative due to the pandemic, not because they don't want to help us. And I think that's why I said this is halftime. Even after the Senate, we're still in halftime of the football game. And the Senate posted its Ways and Means budget. And there's some minor differences, you know, again, in areas that are probably not on the top of our priority list. There are some minor differences, but not significant. But what is the same is the additional money for the $20 million additional dollars for day employment services at DDS. And that's already in the Ways and Means budget of the Senate as well. And we've communicated last Friday with the Senate Ways and Means and shared with them yesterday the amendments in the House as they wanted to see them. And they wanted to know what we had been communicating. And we did also share them about family support. We had a blip on family support, but they know how much we care about the families getting the support they need and the AFC stipend. George, do you want, is there another question before I ask George? Here's Cindy saying they've been serving 600 people and they only have a third of their people. So Center of Hope, that's been around also since the 50s, 1956, close friend and colleague, Cindy Howard. You know, so many of you that have dedicated your lives, Mike, Cindy, Jim, just real awesome people. It's really scary. And so, of course, it's not like if we don't do something about the rate of payment, we are going to lose the programs. And people like Stephanie, like Peter, they're going to be affected. This isn't, you know, you can't just turn around and open something up in a month. I'm wondering if, and also, of course, we want to see things evolve. We've been working to evolve things. One of the parents said, my son's on the spectrum, has other condition. His clubhouse is only open 1 day a week for each member. There's no transitional employment, and more out of the house programming is needed. Yeah, and we have to make, you know, one of the goals for the future as we come out of the pandemic is to rebuild how we do day and employment supports. But right now, it's really about keeping the safety net, you know, together. But also we can start thinking about evolution too. And then capabilities. Yep, you also are probably struggling with some of the same issues. So I'm wondering if George or Joe want to say something, George Fleischner, and about, you know, I know you've had a really good record with the virus because you have more individualized settings. And I know, Joe, you guys at CCI are full day and day hab programs and employment and day habilitation and facing some of the same challenges, right, that Cindy described in terms of numbers. It's also, it's 12:29. I can't believe it's going so fast.
Leo, I'll jump in. This is George Fleischner from Nonotuck Resource Associates. I think when it comes to shared living and AFC, what the issue is for us is the caregivers who, since March, many of our caregivers, we serve over 1,200 people in both of those services, have had to be, you know, there for the person that they live with, their family member, or in shared living, the person they provide services to, since March. So it's critical that the day programs get the funding so that it's hard enough to get in there now because the people that we do provide services to, in many cases, are so vulnerable. Yeah. So they need to be home and protected, but it's critical to keep the day services open so that when this terrible pandemic leaves us, that there's places for people to go.
Thank you, George. Thank you. Great colleague. Thanks for sharing that from obviously a different perspective too, because you don't do the day and employment program. So, and Charles Hollins from Bay Cove, a good colleague established in the early 70s, has the same challenges, he said, and concern. And he thanks for hosting the event. Thank you. And we'll be happy to reach out. Those of you if you would like, come on our webpage. Somebody asked the question privately. I want to say, please go on our webpage. We'll be posting soon an updated alert, right, Maura? And we really, the communication makes a difference. And great point about greater access to PPE. We'd love to see local outlets for families and others and for staff. And I do hear the COVID testing is going better, but it can't be just once a month. That's a great point that for the surveillance testing. So, and I just want to say Autism Service Association also weighed in, established since 1963, and they also only have a third of people in their programs. And good friend Carrie mentioned she has 0 skilled nursing hours during the entire pandemic. So again, another area why in-home, family support services, AFC caregiver support, and now nursing services. Thank you for reminding us of that too, Carrie.
And Leo, also mental health emergency beds has become an issue during the pandemic as well. If there's a question in the chat we didn't get to, we'll take a look at all the questions and try to reach back out.
So this will be posted on the Northeast Arc web page if somebody wants to see this when it goes up.
So I'd be surprised if they didn't do it like on Facebook or something like that. Also sharing our chapters, because this is so. Stephanie, again, thank you for being on. Beth, thank you, Jim and Char and George and others that came on or wrote in. And we're gonna post this. We're gonna have the recording up within some hours or probably by Monday morning at the latest. But hopefully we'll be able to do it today. Depends on Katerina and what else she's doing. I want to thank everybody, and Maura, thank you. You want to close it up and say the closing words? That would be great.
No, I just want to say, stay safe, everyone. Look for our action alert that's coming out. And we got a ways to go. We got the Senate, we have the conference committee, and we can make an impact together. So thanks, everyone.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome. Take
Thanks,
care,
Neil. Thanks, Maria.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Take care.
Maura, thank you.
Thank you.
Good. Glad you get to do it.
Yeah.